So Dan, what do you want to call this show?
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting poked, so poke the gorilla.
Oh yeah, you're the gorilla.
Yeah, I'm the gorilla. Yeah. It scares the crap out of me how bad this healthcare system is.
Okay, all right.
Oh, we got trouble. We got real trouble in this healthcare system. And I'm really surprised. I knew the ACA, or the American Affordable Healthcare System, didn't do much, but I didn't realize all the damage it did. This thing has exacerbated the cost plus stuff. There's no incentive for medical care to be at all competitive. And if it works in every other industry in the world, why can't it work in healthcare? And he's absolutely right. You need to have an incentive to make the healthcare system more efficient. You look at the numbers and what it costs us for Medicare, Medicaid, and of course insurance, and it drives you crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going up 15-20% a year in cost.
Yeah.
And all you and by the way, the one thing that really caught my attention was the fact that because Medicare limits what a doctor or a hospital or a clinic can make on a particular procedure, they've invented diseases. Now, do you realize, and I know you read the book, so let me just refresh your memory.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have heart condition, if you don't have a heart condition, you are pre-cardio problem. So now you have to be treated because you don't have a disease.
Sure.
That's crazy. This whole system is junk.
I mean, I see your point on that. I didn't take the quote unquote invention of conditions as a primary cause for concern, because I also think that there is a phenomenon of there's a human desire to characterize certain things, right? And I've always been a bit against the idea that everything needs to be considered a negative condition. Even certain psychological conditions. I think sometimes we look at them and we say, okay, it could just be the way certain groups of people are, but we call it a condition.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as to your point, it's wrapped into the healthcare system. But my take on the book, not so much that, because I don't believe that phenomenon is going to be mitigated by any change in competition. Oh, there's
Big
another
truck.
truck.
Yeah, right.
Lots of trucks. This is what happens when you have discussions on the side of the road.
And when you're sitting in a restaurant.
When you're sitting in a restaurant, right? Because I think that's going to happen no matter what. But I did take from the book that the lack of a competitive incentive in the healthcare system, it seems to me likely that, or credible, that it causes a proliferation of competition not weeding out the worst parts of the healthcare sphere,
or controlling costs,
or controlling costs. Making it so that one of the things that it references, and by the way, it's not the only industry. You said every other industry in the world, but it's not the only industry. Well, I guess it's not the only industry that's experiencing rampant growth. For instance, the education sphere is the same thing.
Yeah.
But
it's
the same thing. It's fueled. It's fueled by
defense.
And defense, right?
And what do those three things have in common?
Right. Well, they're fueled by money that's not that's not given
it's
for
government involvement.
Sure.
Government. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think the first time you and I had this discussion, I said the government gets involved in something, they screw it up.
But the government, again,
this guy blames the government for this too.
My rebuttal for that is that it's not just the government; it's the government and then the public response. Because when the government gets involved in something, well, then the natural tendency is for people to seek to exploit that somehow.
Yes.
So creating an incentive system, which still often could involve the government in some way. So again, I think you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater when you blame the government completely. And we just want to say to abolish it.
As soon as that truck goes by,
yeah, there it goes.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Think about what Goodall said about the cost plus element of the ACA and of Medicare in general since 1965. Okay? So if you're cost plus and you sell a service for $1,000, your profit, if it's a 10% cost plus, your profit is $100. So what's your incentive to make that less expensive?
No, you have none.
Your incentive is to make it more expensive.
And it's the same problem with defense spending.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because government involvement, because that's what they do. Government wants to be all things to all people, and it can't be. You have to rely a certain amount on the market to take care of what we need to take care of. And again, he cites the system in Singapore, which health-wise, their population and our population are very close. Same mortality rate, same level of health, same. And by the way, the cost of the healthcare in Singapore is a fraction of what it is here.
Yes, but here's the other thing that I feel like I realize. It's not like the government didn't construct a program there to help that along.
But they allowed market conditions.
But they
to
allowed
control.
market conditions, right? So again, this comes back to a hybrid system.
Right.
And as you know, you very well know, I'm not in favor of a pure governmental or socialist-run type of system, and I'm not in favor of Wild West economics either. You know, it's basically you have a game with unbounded constraints that needs some rules implemented in it. It's just we have yet to actually determine rules that create the balance we're looking for.
Well,
So.
you know something, but I think you and I, where we differ most, is what those rules look like.
What those rules look like. Yeah.
Because frankly, too many rules has done a lot of damage. Again, you cite Singapore. You cite Singapore. By the way, the airline industry. When we deregulated the airline industry, everybody, oh my God, the planes are going to crash into the, they're going to crash into the ground. People are going to die. Baloney. They deregulated airlines. Oh,
hey.
So I hope that guy's okay.
That's not,
But anyway,
yes.
oh, here comes another one. Our men in blue. Happy 4th of July. Anyway, when you think about the airline industry, what happened was the airline industry deregulated. People got better service for lower prices. The incidents, by the way, we're on the 3rd year with no major crash in the U.S. You know that?
True.
So I mean,
Well,
deregulation.
I agree. I would imagine that's true. I don't know if that's true.
Deregulation in this country in the airline industry did nothing but help the airline industry. And by the way, more importantly, it helped the consumer of the airlines.
Okay. But the banking industry has not experienced that, for instance.
In what respect?
And I mean, you can't say that universal deregulation of financial services has caused nothing but positive results.
Actually, the only negative I can think of is Fannie Mae, because Fannie Mae was put together because the government wanted more people to own houses, not cars. They wanted more people to own houses, so they put Fannie Mae together so that more people could get more house for the money. And then what happened? Price of houses went up.
That wasn't really a deregulation, as I'm thinking.
It's the government involvement.
You're referring to government
Yes.
involvement. I'm talking about a lack of rules. See, that's the difference. We talk about these buzzword terms, and we talk about deregulations. I'm talking about rules and consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I feel like when people are talking about market, they're talking about the only rules are the ones that the players make for themselves. And I don't necessarily
You have to have
think,
regulation. I understand that. Like, for example, I'm a big fan of antitrust law. Of course,
Right, well, there you
antitrust
go.
law, that went out the window during the Clinton administration.
Right. So
But that's something that Trump should pay attention to.
again, so that's the only reason I don't necessarily paint things with the same color brush in that particular. But
It is what it is.
it is what it is. It's not a problem we're going to solve today, but it's a good problem to discuss.
I hear you. And I'll tell you another thing, too.
What?
If we keep eating in every restaurant we stay in, I'm going to be the size of this building.
Well, it's a good reason to go work out every day.
Yeah, go work
But
out.
we're here at Red Stripe.
I tried
and we're
working
gonna
out. I
have,
tried jogging. I keep running into restaurants.
Anyway,
Okay,
so we'll eat something here at Red Stripe and be on to the next place.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
All right, bud.